Hello, I'm Acton Clarkin. This is CBC Windsor News. I'll be your new host for the next year while Katarina is on parental leave. I've been reporting with CBC in Calgary, but I grew up here in Ontario, and I'd love to learn more about you and your city. So get in touch with me about your stories and say hello if you see me around town. Well, today we begin with a story about insects and how you should keep your eyes peeled. That's the advice from a group of invasive species trackers. Dawson Chen has more on the threat spreading through the U.S. and what it means for Canada.
Be on the lookout for this bug or its egg masses. The spotted lanternfly has not established itself in Windsor, Essex yet, and the Invasive Species Centre wants to keep it that way. The nonprofit Canadian organization recently held a workshop at the Ojibwe Nature Centre to raise awareness of this dreaded Asian plant-eating pest.
It feeds on a wide variety of plants and in particular causes a lot of injury to grapevines. So we are very concerned about the grape and wine industry. What we're doing is enabling early detection and rapid response. So if you spot it, we want you to snap it, catch it, and report it. So get some pictures of it, and then we want you to actually catch the specimen.
Emily Postorero is a coordinator with the Invasive Species Centre. She says there have been only about 10 sightings of the spotted lanternfly in southwestern Ontario over the past 2 years. That's including the one seen by South Windsor resident Catherine Archer in September 2024. But the bug has been spreading across the eastern United States since 2014. If it comes northward, it's expected to have a major impact on Canada's vineyards, fruit farming, flower nurseries, and forestry. Postorero says Windsor, Essex, as a border region, especially has reason to worry. The bug has the ability to lay its egg masses on any stationary object.
As egg masses, it kind of just looks like an inch-long smear of mud, and it can be on almost any surface outdoors. It can be on patio furniture, it can be on trees. So if you were to go over the border into the U.S. to areas with known infestations, you might consider checking your vehicle on the way back. Any kind of outdoor equipment, really, firewood, concrete slabs. Really, there's a lot of different places you could look.
The spotted lanternfly originates from China and parts of Vietnam. It's theorized that international trade accidentally introduced the bug to North America, where its adaptability has allowed it to flourish over other insect species. But concerned Maidstone resident Jean de Michel says this is not about survival of the fittest.
Charles Darwin wasn't transporting species from continent to continent. So we've caused it. We've contributed to the change. We can contribute to trying to create some balance back again, to getting the balance back.
Evidence of spotted lanternflies should be reported to the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. Postorero says to send them photos and specimens, dead or alive. Dawson Chen, CBC News, Windsor.
Windsor's Nexstar plant says it now employs 1,100 workers as it starts mass producing battery cells. The heavily government-subsidized factory now spits out lithium-ion battery cells. Earlier this month, Nexstar said it was expanding into the energy storage systems world for power grids and prioritizing that type of production. The batteries go into rechargeable units that store hydro during off-peak hours. Nexstar said it would still have the flexibility to make batteries for electric vehicles like originally intended. The plant is now up to 1,100 workers, but it's still well short of the promised 2,500. Next, we turn to Windsor workers who are locked out, not only speaking out, but taking action. Jacob Barker has more.
It's been 100 days since workers here at Titan Tool & Die were locked out of their jobs, and they're marking the day by setting out on a caravan through the city. On this day, the lockout is making history, according to those on the picket line.
This is a significant day because the longest standing lockout on strike in the automotive industry was 1945, was Ford Motor Company, and this has surpassed that 99 days.
Titan Tool & Die locked workers out in fairer weather after their collective agreement ended on July 31st. Days later, the company came asking for concessions, the union says, rolling back on issues around pension, retirement, benefits, and seniority rates. The company also won a court injunction against the union after workers tried to prevent it from moving equipment from its Windsor facility to Michigan.
The company are not entertaining anything. They don't guarantee any work. Even if we take the concession, there is a guarantee for any work. So this employer definitely has an alternative motive, and we are not going to stand for those kind of employer in the city of Windsor.
Unifor's national president, Lana Payne, says the company's intentions still aren't clear. They're saying little to the union And when we reached out for comment, there was no response.
Taking equipment out of a plant in the middle of a night, coming to a bargaining table, not bargaining in good faith, putting concessions on that table, and then locking out our members with not coming clean with what it is that they're going to do with this facility. Are they going to open it again? Are they committed to working and having this plant in Canada? Or are they just going to shift our jobs and our investment to the United States? And to this day, 100 days later, we still do not have an answer from this employer about that.
We're out here till the end, till they decide that the concessions are off the table. Then we'll go back and we'll work out a collective agreement. But we would like to be back to work.
Let's take a peek at the forecast. Colette Kennedy is here. Colette, how are things looking?
Well, we'll show you what's going on here because there is a little bit of precipitation still in the area. And the temperature profile for now, clearly above freezing. So what we've been having have been some light rain showers, still kind of spotty in nature. But notice there's some mixed precipitation where there's cooler air. And so we could, as the temperature slides tonight, it will be light in nature, but get into a little bit of a mix there. Don't get too frightened by that icon making it look so nasty. And -1 overnight tonight. A beautiful day, though, tomorrow. Acton, mostly sunny and up to 7 degrees.
Thanks, Colette. Chat again soon. Well, are you wondering if your car is one of the most popular cars in Canada to steal? Well, Equité Association, an insurance investigation organization, has just published its 2024 list of the country's most stolen vehicles. The company notes that while auto theft is down from previous years, it still remains a nationwide problem. Dale Manukduk has more.
This video, provided to CBC Toronto by Sid Mohan in Barrie, shows two car thieves going to work on November 3rd. One approaches a Lexus TX and shatters the rear passenger side window and goes back to the getaway car. Minutes later, they return with the second suspect, who slides into the vehicle and is handed a device. Mohan says the suspect spent about 8 minutes inside.
They had removed the front glove compartment entirely, like they broke it and they removed it. I think they were hoping to access something behind it. And it's only later on that I found out that they cut some kind of wiring harness inside, trying to get into or maybe disable the electronics in the car.
Fortunately, the thieves failed and fled. Mohan was shocked to find out today that the Lexus model tops the list of the most frequently stolen vehicles in Ontario and across Canada.
My mind is a little bit soured on the brand, just on when I saw the data on how many Toyota/Lexus vehicles are on that list.
Nearly 1 in 4 Lexus TXs are stolen in Ontario, making it the most targeted vehicle for theft. That's followed by the Toyota Grand Highlander, Land Rover Defender, Mercedes-Benz G-Class, and Toyota Tundra. Across the country, spots 1 through 4 remain the same, with the Range Rover taking the 5th spot. Vehicle thefts in terms of volume are very different. In Ontario, the Honda CR-V was the most stolen vehicle, followed by the Dodge Ram 1500, the Honda Civic, Jeep Wrangler, and Ford F-150. In Canada, the Toyota RAV4 was the most stolen.
Pickup trucks and SUVs continue to dominate the list, but the luxury vehicles, the vehicles over $200,000 is a growing trend.
Equité says car thieves who are known to ship the stolen vehicles overseas made off with more than $1 billion in cars last year. But note that auto thefts are down some 26%. Over the last few years, several police forces have recovered millions in dollars worth of vehicles. In Toronto, auto thefts dropping nearly 30% year to date. In Peel, almost 70%, highlighting how big of a priority it is.
We held numerous auto theft summits, seminars, conferences, along with our proactive measures, and our investigators have been diligently working on the issue.
Despite the success, Equité says the drop is largely due to reactionary measures.
Our numbers are still high. We need to move to the preventative stage, make the vehicle harder to steal in the first place.
Gas says automakers need to do more. In a statement, Toyota, who owns Lexus, says it has already adopted a multi-tiered approach to reducing the likelihood of its vehicles being stolen and will continue to implement new technologies. As for vehicle owners, it's recommended to park in garages if you have one or well-lit areas. You can also use aftermarket security devices like immobilizers and steering wheel locks. Dale Manukduk, CBC News, Toronto.
Some farmers in Ontario are worrying about being forced off their land by the federal government. Ottawa needs acreage to build new radar surveillance systems, and it seems to have set its sights on properties near the town of Stayner. Jamie Strachan has the details.
At this farm in central Ontario, it may look like business as usual. But anxiety hovers over the Hutchison family after a letter from the Department of National Defence asked if they would consider selling their near 100-acre property.
My family has been here since 1879 on this property, and I'm the 5th generation to take over, and my son is hopefully going to be the 6th generation.
He asked me, Mom, what are we going to do?
Farmer Rachel Brooks was also approached over the summer.
I remember opening the letter and thinking, is this a joke? What's going on here?
Clearview Township, about 2 hours north of Toronto, has some of the best agricultural land in the province. It's here D&D wants to build a massive radar site covering around 4,000 acres, part of Canada's $38 billion air defense modernization.
It immediately impacted my sense of security, in the sense of something that I owned could possibly be taken from me.
The government has already purchased a 700-acre parcel in the area, but needs a lot more to make the project viable. Residents and the local MP have been unable to get answers about what will happen if landowners choose not to sell.
That's part of the concern with the residents up there. Will they or will they not expropriate?
In a statement to CBC News, D&D said it's not currently working on expropriation, but doesn't say anything about the future.
As farmers, we work for a future. We plan for a future. And it just felt like it was going to be gone. So what are we working so hard for?
Just one more question with no clear answer. Jamie Strachan, CBC News, near Stayner, Ontario.
24-year-old Annika Bulino was born in China, but just hours after her birth, she was abandoned in the hospital corridor. She was eventually adopted from a Chinese orphanage by a Canadian family, making her way to LaSalle. This is Adoption Awareness Month, and Annika shared her story with CBC Windsor morning host Amy Dodge.
When I was younger, my parents have been always very open about my story and where I came from. So as a young child, I always knew that I was left in a hospital. So it was really important for us as a family to go back and to try and see if anyone at the hospital knew of the nurse that was reported to have found me in the hallway. So it was definitely one of our first stops in China. You know, a lot of people will go to China for the Great Wall of China or everything else that they have, but it's for me that trip was really to try and learn more about my beginning then.
What was the question you wanted answered when you went?
At the time, I was just a teenager. I really just wanted to know what China is all about. The whole idea and question of finding my biological family wasn't as prominent as it is now. So when I was younger, it was just what is the Chinese culture like? What is the food like? And there's so much that you can learn, living in Canada with such a diverse community. But when you're back in the mainland, as they say, you can learn so much more. So for me, it was just being in that environment where I didn't feel like a minority and I just could fit in.
What was it like for you to walk into that hospital?
It was a lot of mixed emotions. It was very exciting to be there and to see it in person, but at the same time, you're thinking is this really the place that they found me?
Do you know your birthday?
It says on my report that I was found on April 27th, 2001. I really have no idea if that's actually my birthday. The reports that my translator showed us, it started from 3 months old and on. That's when they started documenting in my report. So after learning that, I was like, you know what, maybe every day should be my birthday.
Yes.
I don't know.
The lights of downtown Windsor, my new home, my new city. Loving it so far. And just across the river, though, Detroit. And coming up, the latest on what's happening across the border in the U.S. with the Epstein files. Will they be released or won't they? More details just ahead. Prime Minister's minority government made it through another confidence vote Tuesday as Carney's Liberals now wade through ways to implement the new federal budget. David Thurton has the latest from Ottawa.
Another busy day in Ottawa with a visit from Sweden's monarch.
It is such an honor to welcome you, Your Majesties.
Plus, more budget deliberation.
There are more votes, of course, to come through the budget process.
As Mark Carney suggested there, his minority Liberal government is not out of the woods. The budget passed last night by a razor-thin margin, thanks to a handful of Conservative and NDP MPs abstaining. But more confidence votes are on the way, as the Prime Minister heads on a foreign trip to the United Arab Emirates.
What do you hope to accomplish at the UAE? Well, I had to change my schedule, actually.
His finance minister was supposed to join him. Instead, he's staying behind to get the budget through the House of Commons.
Mr. Speaker, what they did yesterday under this leader, they voted against investment in infrastructure. Under this leader, they voted against investment in housing.
Mr. Speaker, I don't think anybody's been able to cram that many slogans into one answer, and this is coming from me.
Conservatives maintain their opposition.
Well, it's not a good budget, so not a good outcome at all for Canada.
What's worse, that budget or an election?
Well, I'll leave each one of you to decide that.
The possibility that the government could fall keeps Liberals on their toes.
I have very good advice for everyone. If you want to be comfortable, don't enter federal politics.
Liberals face votes related to the implementation of their budget, but opposition parties have already signaled they're willing to let enough MPs sit it out to avoid an election. David Thurton, CBC News, Ottawa.
It's been a dramatic day as well in the U.S. Capitol, where lawmakers have been moving at breakneck speed to pass legislation ordering the full Epstein files to be released. First, the House of Representatives voted in favor of the bill. Then just a couple of hours later, the Senate passed it as well, leaving it now to President Donald Trump to sign it or not. Chris Reyes has more.
On this vote, the yeas are 427, the nays are 1.
In a near unanimous vote, Republicans and Democrats overwhelmingly supported a bill to compel the U.S. Justice Department to release all files related to the Jeffrey Epstein case. The convicted sex offender died in jail in 2019, awaiting trial on more charges of sex trafficking and prostitution. Pressure has been mounting on President Donald Trump to make good on his campaign promise to release all files, including more recently from the most loyal members of his party and from his MAGA base. Trump recently called Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene a traitor after she became one of the most vocal supporters of the bill. Greene has since turned on Trump and praised the bipartisan effort to support Epstein's victims.
These men crossed that aisle on behalf of these women. And that is more of what is needed today in America than ever in our history.
Victims of Epstein and their families spoke outside the Capitol before the vote and were in the gallery when the bill passed. One of the speakers, the brother of Virginia Giuffre, who was one of Epstein's most prominent accusers. She died by suicide earlier this year.
A warrior, a mother, and a sister whose legacy will forever resonate in the hearts of those who understand the fight against injustice.
Trump has repeatedly denied any involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, calling the growing attention to release the files a distraction and a Democrat hoax. Still, in a surprise move, he gave the green light for his party to support the bill on Sunday after fighting hard against it.
We have nothing to hide here. I'm voting to release the files so that we can move on from this smear campaign the Democrats have manufactured. God bless
Gentleman's
Donald J.
time is
Trump.
expired.
President Trump says if the bill lands on his desk, he will sign it. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Still ahead, we'll check in on your local forecast for the rest of the week. Wind, rain, snow? I don't know. Those details next, though. Colette, you're back to fill us in on that forecast twice in one show. I will say, I'm not used to that back in Calgary, but I'm loving it. I'm also still getting used to Windsor weather, though. I mean, I got to say, it's probably warmer than where I've been living, so no complaints. But why don't you walk us through the Windsor forecast?
Yeah, we'll work you into it. And by the way, welcome to the show, Acton. Nice to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so let's talk about that Windsor weather, the weather around southwestern Ontario, and our daytime temperatures from 1 a.m. at -4, and then as we were sliding through the day, 8 a.m. above freezing up to 1 degree, that system approaching, and yes, I know we got into some wet weather light stuff, but through the day, and then as of 6 p.m. up to the 4 degrees. Now the winds, nice to have some light winds because we had multiple days there with stronger sustained winds plus gusty winds, so even as this, we'll call it a trough because the center of the low is further south. As this is kind of tracking through, there's some of that precipitation. There's a little bit of moisture back behind that still has to come through. And as our temperature is falling, so the timing of that being that we could get that light mixing coming our way. But for now, you can see Windsor, Lakeshore, as it's passed through Amherstburg, although you're in a dry slot now, it has been in the form, of course, of liquid precipitation and rain showers. There's more the center of the low where there's active weather and some thunderstorms, some heavy thunderstorms and severe weather tracking there. So it's good for us that high pressure's been pulling in from the north and kind of keeping that well to the south. And it is just this glancing blow as it comes through there. A chance for a little bit of very, very light mix on the roads. If you're going to be out late this evening or pressing towards midnight, if you're a shift worker, that kind of thing, just know you could have some spots where it's a little bit slick. But then we're going to clear out very nicely, setting us up for a good looking day on Wednesday. Temperatures looking good too. And then the next system is approaching on Thursday. So with that, we will get some increasing cloudiness and a slight chance for some showers, but it is pretty slight. So I actually feel pretty good about the forecast there as well. And as we're moving towards the weekend, our temperatures warming up there. So overnight, that low of -1. Here you go tomorrow. There you go for your hump day, 7 degrees, mostly sunny. Come on. Increasing cloudiness, 9. That slight chance of showers. Look at Friday, 10 degrees. And even as we move towards the weekend, we're getting treated to temperatures a little above seasonal. And in fact, by Sunday, Acton a few degrees above seasonal.
I'm liking it. Thanks, Colette. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's our show. Thanks for watching. I'm looking forward to connecting with folks out in the community. So once again, if you see me, say hello and see you next time.